Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to Complex PTSD TV Live. And it's wonderful to be here with you. Welcome, Conscious Warriors. It's Hump Day in Australia, and for those around the rest of the world that are having a gorgeous Tuesday night, welcome. If you're here for the first time, say g'day. And if you're here and you're one of our regular cast members, welcome. And also say g'day, or if you're here for the replay, do hashtag replay. And we love to share the videos and the work and everything that we do together in order that other people who are still the silent majority when it comes to complex PTSD get to know about it and that they can take their one next step. Now, I'm just going to double check in that everything's going okay on the live version because my computer, now that the internet's super fast, the computer's having an absolute conniption and it started playing up last night. So I have the ultimate best news. I stayed up all night. Nah, that's not the news. But I did manage to get 2 hours sleep because I got so excited yesterday when I realized I could develop a new product for you which not only teaches you about attachment, it also will help you work out what's your one next step when it comes to breaking free from whatever's keeping you frozen or in hyperarousal, so fight, flight, freeze or fawn. And I couldn't stop putting it all together last night. So I'll just show you the cover. I made a new book for you. Okay, here we go. So welcome to our new series, which is going to be One Step Authentic Recovery series, and it literally is about us knowing how to recognize our attachment style, which you get from listening to me, and also it's going to help you. It's a workbook, so it's going to help you recognize how that plays out in your day-to-day life, what the pattern is in your day-to-day life so that you can literally see it unfolding daily before you, and because I've designed worksheets especially for it, and also what is your one next step so you can break free from the intergenerational effects of whatever style of attachment you've got. So for today, pardon me, got a bit of the sniffles today, not enough sleep I'd say. So for today, the exciting part is we're going to be looking at fearful avoidant, okay, attachment, which is also known as disorganized attachment. So what are 6 things? If you've got fearful avoidant attachment, what are 6 predominant things that you're going to be looking for? Okay, so the first one is you can tend to feel used or exploited in relationships. Okay, so think about, is that how you feel in relationships? Kind of think about an incident that might apply to you that brings up emotions for you. You could prematurely pull away from relationships when you feel rejected. Okay, so if there's, just say you have a disagreement with even just a friendship in your life and you don't have the language around what's happened for you, you feel that there's rejection happening, that they don't accept you for who you are on your journey, that they aren't listening to you, pardon me, excuse me, then we often can feel a rejected sense. So instead of standing there and having a conversation about why that feeling's happening for you and processing it, it's to turn and run in the other direction without being able to adult and have that conversation. Now, it's not about bashing yourself up ever. None of that. Okay. We do that automatically. Automatic thoughts. Look for the video on YouTube on automatic thoughts, and I'll explain everything in relation to that. You can feel anxiety or helplessness when you begin to fall in love or when you begin to depend on someone. And I know for me, depending on someone was something that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning. So my adult kids have been a big indicator of this, like, Mum, why don't you tell us that you need help? Why don't you ask for help? And I'm like, oh my goodness. I've spent all their lives, or before that too, but all their lives, and Josh is 28 this year, just doing everything myself. So it does. We tend to get a bit anxious. Can you feel that inside of you, that if you were to rely on someone, that it would make you feel anxious? Okay. You tend to crave emotional intimacy, but often feel mistrustful of others. So it's this real pull inside of you where you really long for someone to be there for you, to recognize that you have a need to be met, and you can't verbalize it. But then the other side of the pull is that you don't feel that you can trust anyone with that need either. Push, pull. All right, so hands up if that's you. Okay, often have a low self-image or some form of low self-esteem. And remember, complex PTSD from childhood developmental trauma means that we didn't develop our sense of self. So having a low sense of self-esteem is something that definitely can be a key indicator as well. Yeah, and also, but what you're going to see is that low self-esteem, it has you running, all right? Very afraid to confront people or have that important conversation. You want to run away from it because it's very hard to know how to manage not only the conversation you want to have, but also to know how to manage the emotions that are coming alongside of it as well. You'll often have a combination of avoidant and anxious tendencies. So that's exactly what we've just described. So you want to avoid the tough conversations and also even thinking of having the tough conversation. Or if you've got to make a change in your life. So just say work is like pressure packed and you know that you've got to have a tough conversation even with yourself, that you want to leave, that you want to move on. And what you're going to find inside of you is that you're too afraid to face what all the implications of the changes mean. And then that in itself can create the anxiety as well. So you're stuck in freeze mode a lot of the time too. And I have a really dear friend that this happens for. So this attachment style is also known as disorganized attachment style. So those who identify with the style likely grew up with a caregiver or parent who was intrusive, abusive, or highly misattuned. So they really walked right over any boundaries. They never helped you develop any boundaries. Okay, think about that. They never had any care for how you might feel or what you might want to do in this situation. Good morning, ladies. It's great to have you here. So that'd be a really key indicator that this has happened for you. And let's just get up our next list. So think about whether this is hitting home for you. If it's not, and only bits and pieces do, that's okay. When I did my study, we can definitely have two types and even of attachment disorder and styles. And also, if you get, I didn't bring Pete Walker's book with me this morning. No. Complex PTSD, Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. He has a ton of information so you can sit down and navigate what this is for you, okay, where you fit. And I know that because I had two parents who parented in different styles, and it meant different things for me when I had to, look at interacting with either one, I could see two definite styles that I was operating under as well. Okay, so rather than the child feeling safe to reach for their caregiver, they are often afraid or unsure of the response. So think about, as an adult, are you afraid and unsure if you address an issue? Does it make you feel anxious and avoidant? You want to avoid the whole situation. And there can be no inner critic coming up because this happened due to an unhealthy attachment style developing in childhood. Parents who have unresolved losses or traumas can sometimes, so they unknowingly pass on similar traumatic or frightening behaviours onto their child. So what that's saying is we can model our parents' behaviour. So I am aware of an individual who definitely models their mother's behaviour when it comes to how they operate in attaching or not attaching to other people, in having that connection or lack of connection with other people. So families that have experienced generational trauma or genocide may identify at least partly with this attachment style. Our parent being so misattuned and intrusive leaves us feeling afraid, confused, and overwhelmed. Children need to be bonded with their caregivers for their very survival. And I will get up that video again, that minute video with the mother and the baby, because it just shows us how much we need that connection. It literally shows us how much we need the connection with our parents, especially mum. And yet staying bonded to an intrusive, unpredictable parent can cause us to dissociate from ourselves. Okay, it makes it really hard to stay fully present because we don't have that fully developed sense of self. We don't have the balance between our emotions and thoughts happening. Okay, so people who have strong, fearful, avoidant tendencies usually have a combination of anxious and avoidant tendencies. They often crave closeness, which is different from the dismissive type, but tend to experience a high level of anxiety when they begin to depend on or begin to fall in love with somebody. This is because the painful memories of our past begin to resurface just as we start to feel safe with someone. So if that sounds like you, we've got the workbook for you today. Okay, and we can also prematurely pull away from relationships due to fears of rejection and our internal anxiety. And also too, I want you to remember this, our social skills weren't developed either. So this doesn't make it easier to manage what's happening for us internally. If you identify with this attachment style, know there is a deep level of pain to work through. So I encourage you to seek out a professional to support you, to make sense of your childhood experiences, and to offer a safe space for you to bring you to your full self. Okay, it is understandable that we deeply crave intimate relationships, and yet we are simultaneously terrified of how we'll feel once we're in that relationship. Okay, there are people who will see your terror and who will want to help to soften your fears. And these are the people who will see your innate goodness, even when you struggle to see yourself. And one of the key things that you can use to recognize that is when you start listening to the people around you who tell you how wonderful you are and you live in the land of denial. Okay, and we can all stick our hands up about that, because I absolutely used to do that until I went through the whole can't walk, can't talk, no memory stage, and I realized in this blinding flash one day that I'd been listening to everybody who said horrible things about me all my life. I'd been repeating it in my head, and I went, you know what? I need to put it down and start listening to the people who do actually say nice things about me. And it was the best choice I ever made, because when I sat there and thought about it, I went, oh my goodness, what if the people who say nice things are right? Have I got anything to lose by believing them? And I went, no, I've got nothing to lose by believing people that say nice things about me. But believing people who say unkind things about me is just making my life a misery. So you are loved. You are worth it. And I want you to know that you don't have to stay living this way. Okay? Now, if you would like the workbook because it resonates with you, just say, let me know, Linda, or private message me, or let me know, and I will send you the link, because I haven't put the whole page up yet because I worked all night to get the book done. But we will also be doing workbooks for each of the attachment styles because they are needed for the one next step. Now, hello Anne, it's wonderful to have you back. And Laura, good morning, beautiful soul. Laura says she has Pete Walker's book, a great book and reference. I am an avoidant attachment style. Okay, so we'll get on to that as well. And I can relate to a number of things in the anxious avoidant in my past, not now, but in my past. And I can honestly say that one of the things with anxious avoidant too is as we build our courage to take that one next step and address what needs to be addressed, it builds our courage, and then all of a sudden it starts to fall away as well. All right, so I want to give you hope. So it gives you all the family dynamics of how you slotted into your family, the role that you took on, and it helps you unpack and see how you were not forced into, but how the dynamics were that you have that interacted in your family. Now, in being able to see them, we then are able to take our one next step to break free from them. Okay? Okay, yeah, sorry about that, Anne. I've no idea what happened. It just went down and we're back up again. So, if you grab this book, it's going to tell you, give you the information of how your role in the family, how your role in the family came about, and also not just how your role in the family came about, but how you can now identify the parts that you don't need to carry anymore as an adult. Okay? So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know. And I'm always happy to help. And remember, you are loved, and together we can make it through breaking the cycle and knowing our one next step. Have the most gorgeous day, and I will put all of this. Who is the author, Linda? John Bradshaw. I'll just put it in the comments. And author is John Bradshaw, and the book is Bradshaw on the Family. Okay, it's in the comments down below. Now, you can order it online anywhere. I got mine through Amazon, and that comment should come up any moment now. Okay, I will put it in the comments if it doesn't come up, and I'll go and do it straight away. Have a glorious day, and I'm glad you're all back too, and I will see you again tomorrow morning for a wonderful edition of CPtsd TV Live. Bye for now.